Every legend hides a truth. Every myth whispers a warning. Welcome to the Mythic Hour, where the forgotten gods and cursed stories return to life. The night market in Lagos hummed with life. Oil lamps flickered, traders shouted over one another, and the smell of roasted fish tangled with the sweetness of fried plantain. Yet, just beyond the last row of stalls, the world fell into shadow where the great lagoon stretched dark and endless, whispering like a restless spirit. Children were warned not to wander there. The water is not empty, the elders said. The river keeps secrets, and not all spirits mean you well. But Ebele, a young fisherman's daughter, was restless. She had heard the tales of Mami Wata, the dazzling mermaid spirit who could grant fortune or pull a man beneath the waves forever. Men whispered that she appeared with skin gleaming like moonlight, her eyes sharp as glass beads, her hair flowing like black silk. Sometimes she took the form of a serpent coiled in jewels. Sometimes she walked on land like a woman of impossible beauty, her laughter sweeter than palm wine. Ebele's father dismissed the stories, yet he still poured a little palm oil into the lagoon each time he cast his nets. Insurance, he called it. Respect, the neighbor said. That night, Ebele walked alone toward the water, carrying a calabash of kola nuts. Her mother had warned her not to go, but something inside her tugged toward the lagoon, an unshakable pull. The waves lapped softly. Then, without warning, the water stilled. A hush spread through the reeds, and the night sounds, the crickets, the frogs, even the distant market noise, fell silent. From the water rose a figure. Ebele froze. A woman stood waist-deep in the lagoon, her skin glowing like polished bronze, her long hair dripping diamonds of water. Around her neck coiled a serpent, scales gleaming with impossible colors. The woman smiled, but her eyes held something ancient and unreadable. "You have called me," the woman said, her voice low and sweet. "Do you know who I am?" Ebele swallowed hard. Her throat felt dry. "Mami Wata." The spirit tilted her head, amused. "So the child knows. Few are brave enough to come alone." Ebele's knees trembled, but she forced herself to stay still. I came to ask for a blessing. For my family. My father's nets are often empty." Mami Wata's smile widened, sharp and dazzling. She moved closer, the serpent lifting its jeweled head as though studying Ebele. "Blessings are never free," Mami Wata whispered. "What will you give me in return?" The girl clutched the calabash of kola nuts to her chest. "I brought an offering." The mermaid laughed, a sound like rippling water. "Kola nuts. Do you think the queen of the waters eats the food of mortals?" "No, child. I ask for something greater." Her eyes gleamed, and Ebele felt her heart pound painfully. "What is it?" she whispered. Mami Wata leaned forward, her face impossibly beautiful, her scent intoxicating. "Your loyalty. Your silence. And, when the time comes, your choice." The serpent hissed, and the lagoon rippled as though something massive stirred beneath. Ebele knew she should run. She knew she should scream. Yet she could not move. Instead, she whispered, "I accept." Mami Wata smiled, and the serpent uncoiled, slithering into the dark water. The lagoon shimmered with sudden light, like stars scattered across its surface. "Then, child," the spirit said, "your fate is bound to mine. You will have what you desire, but know this, every blessing carries its shadow. Remember, I can bless or curse with the same hand." The lagoon erupted in a splash, and she was gone. Ebele stood trembling, clutching the empty calabash. The night sounds returned, the frogs croaked, and the market noise drifted back on the wind. But nothing would ever be the same. The morning after Ebele's encounter with Mami Wata, the lagoon looked ordinary again. Fishermen launched their canoes, women washed clothes along the banks, and children splashed in the shallows. The spirit's visit might have seemed a dream, if not for what happened next. Her father's nets came back full. Not just full, overflowing. Tilapia, catfish, even barracuda thrashed within them, so heavy it took 3 men to pull the catch ashore. The market women gasped and clapped their hands. "Chai! See this man's blessing," they cried. "The gods have remembered him." Her father laughed, his face shining with pride. "At last, fortune smiles on us." That day, the family ate like royalty, and still there was more than enough to sell. By week's end, her father had coin enough to repair his canoe, patch the roof of their hut, and buy Ebele a new wrapper dyed the color of ripe hibiscus. Yet Ebele could not shake the memory of the spirit's eyes, or her warning, "Every blessing carries its shadow." The first shadow appeared soon after. Her younger brother, Obi, returned from the lagoon one evening pale and trembling. "I saw her," he whispered, eyes wide. "A woman in the water, watching me. She called my name." Her father slapped the boy's head lightly. "Nonsense. You were dreaming with your eyes open. Spirits do not waste time on children." But Ebele knew better. She sat awake that night, listening to the rustle of water reeds outside their hut, her heart beating in rhythm with the river's whispers. Mami Wata came to her again, not in the lagoon but in a dream. Ebele stood in a grand palace beneath the sea, the walls carved from shells that glowed with inner fire. Jewels sparkled everywhere, pearls the size of fists, golden bracelets coiled like serpents, silken cloth spread across coral thrones. Mami Wata sat at the center, her serpent draped lazily around her shoulders. Her beauty was unbearable, yet her smile was edged with something sharp. "You see how I can lift you," she purred. "Your father prospers because of me. Your family eats because of me. But do not forget, gifts are not given freely. Soon, you will choose what you value most." Ebele trembled. "What choice must I make?" Mami Wata's laughter echoed like waves against stone. "When the time comes, you will know. Until then, enjoy your blessings." The serpent flicked its tongue, and the palace dissolved. The prosperity continued. Fisherman marveled that her father's nets never returned empty. Traders sought him out, offering silver for his catch. People in the village began to whisper, pointing as Ebele passed. "That girl," they said. "Her family is favored by the spirits." But envy follows fortune as surely as shadows follow light. Other fishermen grumbled. "How can one man's net always be full while ours grow lighter each day? This is not natural." One night, a jealous neighbor crept to their hut, muttering curses. But before he could scatter his charms at the doorway, he slipped and fell hard, breaking his leg clean across the bone. From that day, no one dared meddle openly with Ebele's family. Still, fear clung to them like mist. Ebele's mother grew restless, crossing herself whenever the lagoon shimmered strangely. "This blessing feels too heavy," she said one night, grinding yam with more force than necessary. "I dream of eyes watching us. I do not like it." Her father waved her worry aside. "Let the jealous whisper. So long as the nets are full, we will live well." But Ebele lay awake, staring at the ceiling, hearing the lagoon's voice in the wind. She knew blessings were never without a price. And the river always collects its debt. The debt came knocking in human form. One hot afternoon, as the market buzzed with trade, a stranger arrived in the village. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and dressed in a way that drew every eye. His wrapper was woven with patterns none had seen before, his bracelets glittered like fire. He carried himself with the ease of a man who never begged fortune, it obeyed him. He walked straight to Ebele's family store, where baskets of fish drew eager buyers. His eyes lingered on Ebele longer than custom allowed. "You are the fisherman's daughter," he said in a voice smooth as palm oil. "The one favored by the waters." Ebele's skin prickled. She bowed slightly, avoiding his gaze. "Yes, stranger. My father is blessed with good catches." The man's smile was too sharp, too knowing. "Blessed indeed. And blessings attract envy and danger. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. Do you know who protects you? Ebele's breath caught. She dared to meet his eyes, and in their dark depths, she saw the shimmer of waves, endless and hungry. Her heart knew before her lips formed the word. Mami Wata. The stranger's smile widened, as though he had plucked a thought straight from her mind. I am her messenger, he whispered. She watches you closely. And soon, she will ask for what is hers. Ebele's hands trembled as she clutched the edge of the fish basket. Around them, the market clamor continued, buyers haggling, women laughing, but it all sounded distant, muffled, as if she stood underwater. What does she want? She whispered. The man's grin flashed like a blade. That, my dear, depends on what you are willing to give. The man began to appear everywhere. At the lagoon, watching her father cast his nets. At the market, buying roasted maize from the women. Even outside their hut at night, standing in the moonlight as if waiting. Each time, his gaze found Ebele, and each time she felt that same dizzy pull in her chest, the lure of deep water, the sound of waves crashing inside her ears. Her mother noticed. That man, she whispered one evening as they pounded yam together. He looks at you like a hawk at a chick. Be careful, Ebele. Men like that do not bring peace. But Ebele wasn't sure he was a man at all. Sometimes, when he passed close, she caught the faint scent of salt and seaweed. Once, when the lantern flame flickered across his face, she swore his shadow stretched into the shape of a serpent before snapping back. One night, as she walked alone by the lagoon, he stepped from the reeds. The moon shimmered on the water, and his eyes gleamed with a light not of this world. You cannot avoid me forever, he said, voice low and rich. She sent me to remind you, the time of choice approaches. Ebele's breath hitched. What choice? He reached into the water and pulled out a golden comb, its teeth glittering with jewels. He held it out to her. Take it, he whispered. If you do, all you desire will be yours. Wealth, beauty, lovers who kneel at your feet. But if you refuse, he trailed off, his smile curling into something dangerous. Well, even blessings rot when left too long. The water behind him rippled. For an instant, Ebele saw Mami Wata herself, half submerged, her serpent eyes burning. Ebele stepped back, heart pounding. She could not take the comb. She could not refuse either. The lagoon seemed to lean toward her, waiting. But before she could speak, Obi's voice rang out from the path. Sister. Mother is calling you. The vision shattered. The stranger was gone, the comb vanished. Only the water lapped calmly at the shore, as if nothing had happened. But Ebele knew better. The choice was creeping closer. The weeks that followed were heavy with tension. Prosperity still flowed, the net still overflowed, buyers still crowded their store, but laughter had left the house. Her mother grew gaunt, whispering prayers late into the night. Obi refused to go near the water, claiming he saw faces beneath the surface. Even her father, once so proud, began to drink too much palm wine, muttering that fortune this fat must be carrying teeth somewhere inside it. And Ebele, she dreamed. Dreams of palaces beneath the sea, where she sat on a coral throne draped in jewels, servants bowing before her. Dreams of herself rising from the lagoon, men gasping at her beauty, women whispering in envy. Dreams of the stranger kneeling at her feet, pressing the golden comb into her hand as Mami Wata watched with a serpent smile. Each morning she woke gasping, her body hot, her chest aching with longing. She feared the spirit. Yet she also desired. Mami Wata was danger. But she was also power. One evening, during a storm, the choice finally arrived. The rain lashed the village, the lagoon swelling with fury. Ebele's father had not returned from fishing, and her mother wept, clutching Obi close. The storm will take him, she cried. The gods are angry. Lightning split the sky, and in that flash, Ebele saw her father's canoe tossed like a toy far out on the waves. She ran toward the lagoon, her wrapper soaked in seconds. The water roared, and there, rising from the storm, was Mami Wata herself. Her hair whipped like black fire, her serpent coiled tight around her throat. The stranger stood beside her, grinning, his eyes glowing with inhuman light. "Child," Mami Wata called above the thunder, her voice both beautiful and terrible. "The moment has come. Choose." She pointed to Ebele's father's canoe, nearly capsized. "Give him to me, and you shall be mine. Wealth, beauty, power beyond imagining will be yours. Refuse, and watch him drown." The waves crashed. Her father shouted her name, his voice barely carrying over the storm. The stranger extended the golden comb once more. "Take it," he urged. "Save yourself. Save your family's fortune. Let the old man go, his time is nothing compared to what you could be." Ebele's knees buckled. Her father, fighting for his life. Her family, fed by Mami Wata's gifts. The power she had tasted in her dreams. The lagoon boiled with expectation. Her choice was here. The storm raged like the anger of 100 spirits. Lightning cracked open the sky, thunder rolled through the earth, and the lagoon swelled as if it meant to swallow the whole village. Ebele stood at the edge, rain beating her face, heart pounding against her ribs. Her father clung desperately to his canoe, his eyes wide with fear. Behind him, the waters rose into the shape of a throne, where Mami Wata sat radiant and terrible, serpent coiled around her neck like living jewelry. "Choose, child," the spirit commanded, her voice thundering through the storm. "Give him to me, and I give you the world. Refuse, and you lose both fortune and father alike." The stranger beside her smiled, holding out the golden comb. His voice was a whisper in her mind, soft as temptation. "Take it, Ebele. Think of what you could be. The girl who walks in rags will rise as queen. Why waste your youth, your beauty, on poverty and small dreams?" Ebele's hands trembled. The comb gleamed like lightning caught in gold. The storm pressed close, demanding her answer. She thought of her father's laughter when the nets came back heavy. Her mother's weary smile as she cooked food enough for everyone. Obi's innocent joy when he ate fish until his belly was round. She thought of the dreams, the palace beneath the sea, the servants bowing, the envy in other women's eyes. Desire burned in her chest like fire. Blessing. Curse. Desire. Danger. She shut her eyes. No. The word came out small at first, then louder as she threw her voice against the storm. "No, Mami Wata. I will not give you my father. I will not take your comb. Keep your gift. Keep your palace. I choose my family." The lagoon went deathly still. The stranger's smile faltered, then twisted into a snarl. The comb crumbled to dust in his hand, scattering like sand into the storm. Mami Wata rose, her beauty blazing with fury. The serpent hissed, its eyes glowing red. "Foolish child," she roared. "Do you spurn me after all I have given you? Do you think blessings come without price?" Ebele stood firm, though her knees shook. "If blessings are shackles, then they are not blessings. Take them back. I want only what is ours by our own labor." The spirit's laughter cracked like thunder. She lifted her hand, and the wave surged high, calling into a wall that threatened to crush the canoe, and Ebele's father with it. "Then you shall learn what it is to live without me." The wave roared forward. Ebele screamed and flung herself into the water. The storm swallowed her whole, dragging her down, down into the choking black. For an instant she thought she was lost. Then, through the darkness, she saw eyes, familiar, desperate, her father's. She kicked, pulling him toward her, fighting the current with everything in her. The water resisted, pulling at her limbs like claws. A hiss echoed in her ears, and for a moment she saw the serpent's coils wrapping around her waist. Then, just as her breath failed, the storm broke. She woke coughing on the shore, rain still pattering against her skin. Her father lay beside her, gasping, alive. Villagers gathered, murmuring in awe. They survived. The spirits spared them. But Ebele knew better. Mami Wata had not spared them. She had been defied. The blessing was gone. The days that followed were hard. The nets grew light again, and the family struggled. Sometimes they ate only yam and palm oil, with fish rare as festival cloth. Envy faded from the villagers' eyes, replaced by pity. Her father worked until his hands blistered, but he smiled, grateful for each small catch. Her mother hummed again while cooking, even if the pot was thin. Obi laughed and played, no longer haunted by faces in the lagoon. And Ebele, she changed. She still felt the lagoon's call, still dreamed sometimes of jewels and palaces. But she no longer feared or craved it. She had looked desire in the face and chosen love instead. One evening, as the sun sank red over the lagoon, she walked to the shore alone. The water was calm, reflecting the sky like a polished mirror. "Are you watching me still?" she whispered. For a long moment, nothing stirred. Then, just at the edge of vision, a ripple spread across the water. Ebele thought she saw a figure rise, hair streaming, serpent coiled, eyes unreadable. But the figure did not speak. It only watched, its gaze sharp with something between fury and respect. Then it sank beneath the waves, leaving only the endless whisper of the lagoon. Ebele turned away, her heart steady. Mami Wata had blessed. Mami Wata had cursed. But Ebele had chosen her own fate. And so the tale of Ebele spread among the villagers. Some said she was foolish, throwing away riches. Others said she was wise, sparing her family from a curse that would have swallowed them whole. But when children crept too close to the lagoon at night, their mothers still pulled them back sharply, whispering warnings. The water is never empty. Mami Wata waits still. She can bless, she can curse. She is beauty, she is danger. And if she calls your name, you must choose carefully. If you enjoy tales like this, hit the subscribe button for more mythic stories that were never meant to be forgotten.